Good morning, everyone. There's a famous doctor. He's an expert in marriage. He's written many books. His name is Dr. John Gottman. He actually wears a kippah. And he could predict by spending 15 minutes with a couple, watching their social interactions. Dr. John Gottman could predict with 94% accuracy whether or not they're going to get divorced. This week's Torah portion begins with the words, V'haya ekev tishmon. And if you will only listen to my commandments. And God says, I will keep the covenant with you, and you will be fruitful and successful. But the word for if, or only if, is ekev. Now, ekev is an unusual word. As a matter of fact, we all know that the third patriarch, his name was Yaakov. The root of the word Yaakov is ekev, and it means a heel of a foot. Why was Yaakov called Yaakov? Because he came out of the womb grasping the heel of his twin brother Esav. So why does the Torah say, V'haya ekev tishmon? If only you will listen. The normal, typical word for if is im. Why does he use the word ekev? And Rashi gives a beautiful interpretation from the rabbis. And he says, what the Torah is saying is that, of course, you shall listen to the commandments. But you know which commandments? Ekev. The ones that people tread upon with their heels. You see, there are little mitzvot that people consider sometimes unimportant, insignificant, and they trample on them with the heel of their foot. And therefore what the Torah is saying is, if you want to be in a relationship with God, don't trample on any mitzvot. Pay attention to the minor details. And this is how Dr. John Gottman knows whether a couple will have a successful marriage. He observes them for 10 or 15 minutes, or maybe 20 minutes. And he watches what he calls their bids for connection. You see, he watches when one spouse reaches out to the other and wants to connect with something small. Like one spouse says, hey, look at this beautiful bird. Does the spouse, does the couple, does the partner lean in and say, hey, let me see it? Or do they lean out and turn away? If they turn away, then he knows with 94% accuracy that there will not be a successful marriage. It will end in divorce because they're not responding to their bids for connection. So if one partner brings up a subject and the other one leans into the conversation, engages, that means they're responding to each other's bids for connection. And that's what it's all about. And it's fascinating that what determines a successful marriage is not the vacations they go on, or the gifts they buy each other, or the lavish, grandiose acts of kindness, but it's the day-to-day little small actions and interactions and conversations, the bids for connection. And that's what the Torah is saying is, yes, we think sometimes it's the big mitzvot, like fasting on Yom Kippur, or giving a lot of charity. But you know what it really comes down to? The day-to-day interactions in our relationship with God. Do we take the time to be careful not to speak gossip, for example, or to learn a little Torah every day, or to give a little charity every day, to try to connect with God each and every day on a small daily basis, the ekev, the mitzvot that we often trample upon with our feet. You know, Dini and I went on a trip to Costa Rica last week. And we went to the rainforest and we saw the beauty of God's creation and the nature. And we went on this trail at night with flashlights to observe nature in the rainforest when all the animals and the creatures come out. And it's fascinating how much we don't pay attention to in life. We walk through life, we don't even notice all the beauty and the mystery of creation. And with the help of a tour guide, we were able to spot beautiful frogs in the trees, most beautiful snakes and beautiful monkeys and sloths and even minor little butterflies and worms that have beautiful colors to them that we never notice. But with the help of a guide, we're able to show us, here, look under this leaf, there's the eggs of turtles that are about to hatch, and so much beauty in creation that we just overlook. We walk right by it. And one of the beautiful thing is to hear all the sounds at night of all the different creations of God communicating and talking, and in the silence to listen to every little beautiful creature that God created. And it made me realize, as Dini as well, that we often are not paying attention And one of the highlights was when we were walking through the rainforest at night, we heard this frog that was making this sound. It sounded like click, click, click. And the guide said, watch this. He bent down, he picked up 2 rocks, and he started to bang them together one at a time. And as soon as he started to make that clicking sound by banging 2 rocks together, the frog started to respond, thinking it was the sound of a fellow frog, and started to repeat that sound. And then he stopped, and 2 minutes later he did it again, and the frog responded again. And it made us realize that we are always connecting with everything around us, whether we recognize it or not. And the world around us is responding to us. And the way we make our bids for connection with God, surely with human beings, and even with frogs, that's the way they respond to us. The most important thing is to pay attention to the details. It's those small, kind, loving interactions with God and our fellow man that determines the success of our relationship with God and with our fellow man. Have a wonderful day.